Okay, so I think that I am live. I haven't done a live video in quite some time. I've done them on my phones, but I've never actually done them on the computer. And so I wanted to go live because I've been talking to a lot of graduate students recently, especially since we've been social distancing. So a lot of our conversations are taking place in DMs and private texts on the telephone and Zoom. And it's like that. So I've been thinking about this, probably like thinking about it too much. But I just wanted to tell graduate students, not just the graduate students that I interact with, but also some of the conversations that I'm seeing in social media on Twitter and Facebook. And there's a real like concern, like a real nervousness and a real anxiety of what's next. So I don't know, maybe as a true empath, and I think I can define myself as an empath or locate myself somewhere along that continuum of an empath. And I say that both as a therapist and someone who's worked with graduate students in the university settings for quite some time. But it's like this fear and this anxiety that many graduate students are talking about. In particular, they're saying they can't get stuff done, like reading, writing. They can't think in order to finish their class projects or to work on their dissertations. And I think that's legitimate. I mean, that's legitimate. Probably for most of us over the last 3 weeks, our work schedules have been turned upside down. Our leisure schedules have been turned upside down. And so I expect for people to become mentally debilitated, meaning that they can't function. They don't have their schedule. They don't know what's next. They're not thinking creatively. It's like that prefrontal cortex is just shut down, and that's fine. I know now that after 2 or 3 weeks, some people are bouncing back, whereas other people are like, "But I can't think creatively. I can't get anything done. I have no routine." But I would say for graduate students too, it's deeper than that. I mean, let's be honest. Higher education hasn't always been nice, especially to Black graduate students or graduate students of color who are thinking about tenure track positions right now. So some of the questions they're grappling with is not only what is my research question, what is the purpose of my research, how am I going to perform or present my research. And so it's bigger than that for them. I think also they're thinking about the economics of higher ed. Like, what did I invest in? What am I now going to get out of my investment? Did I just spend the last 3, 4, 5 years on my research topic or in grad school for nothing? Will there be tenure track positions when I'm on the job market? Or will I be still interested in graduate school? And so I think, I'm not the type of person that gives advice. That's just not me. It might come back to bite me, the advice that I gave. But I would suggest that we start thinking about everything that's going on with social distancing, COVID, some of the changes that we're seeing in higher education. Just think of it as a moment. This is only a moment, and this too shall pass. And so I think for graduate students, especially, it is, I'm thinking PhDs or people who are interested in tenure track positions, teaching at a university or college or researching at a university and college. It gives you all the opportunity to take pause. And I mean that with all of its serious intention. So if you think about what we're going through now as simply a moment, you will start to think, and this too shall pass. So it's actually giving you the opportunity to take pause and think about, why did you go to graduate school in the first place? So why did you enroll in graduate school in the first place? And this time gives us the opportunity to reevaluate who we are and who we are, just opposed to the work that we want to do in the world, right? So this is just a moment. This will pass. We don't yet know if higher ed will recover, and if it does, because higher education, all education, has traditionally recovered in this country. But I think the most important thing is to think about where you want to be in this recovery, right? So take this time to start thinking about, why did you decide to get a degree anyway? Did you really want a degree because you wanted the perceived status and prestige that comes with a doctorate or to be called doctor, right? Or professor. This gives you the time to reevaluate your purposes for enrolling in higher education. For me, the prestige and status was never there. I'm black. I'm a black woman. Um, I'm smaller in stature, so no matter where I go, people still assume that I'm a single parent on welfare with two kids. So the prestige and status wasn't ever an option for me. Even as a full professor, I'm never given the benefit of a doubt as a professor. So, but I think that that takes some reevaluation, some rethinking. Why am I in this game? That's not going to change because of an economic crisis. It's not going to change because of a health pandemic. Because higher ed and most bureaucracies learn how to sustain themselves. You just have to figure out where you're at, whether higher ed is there or not. But just this is a moment, so be in the moment. But in your evaluation of, again, why did you go to college in the first place, or higher ed, or into a doctoral program in the first place? Was it the prestige and status? Another one. Did you just want to join the ranks of teachers? Did you just want to teach in a college or a university? Or become like a superintendent if you are receiving EDD, or a related degree where you're going to work in K-12. But I know for me, right, joining the ranks of teacher, somebody once told me, an 82-year-old woman, when I wanted to leave higher ed, just because of some of the chronic stress, the racism, sexism in this business, she told me, she said, Venus, it doesn't matter if you leave academia. It doesn't matter if you stop being a professor. She said, Venus, you're going to teach wherever you're at. And I thought about that, and that's true. I've taught in K-12 schools. I've taught in my basement. I've taught at libraries. I'm teaching now on social media, right? So whether people are still hiring tenure track positions, or for tenure track positions, or if there are any positions in universities for that matter or not, it doesn't matter, because if you entered higher ed or entered a doc program or a graduate program because you wanted to teach, you can teach anywhere. Um, Also, you should probably be thinking about, at this time, in this moment, this is just a moment, another, was your purpose in acquiring a graduate degree, was the purpose to seek knowledge, to conduct research, to have access to some of the best libraries in the world. I have a confession. I actually attended U of I, and I stayed at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, for a long time because I just have a love of books. I like the smell of books. I like how old books crack open. I like that dusty smell of books. I'm sure that has something to do with my current allergies. But I like knowledge. I like connecting the dots when I'm doing research, when I'm interpreting words, when I'm trying to analyze data. And so that's a really important purpose too for going into higher education if you want to be a lifelong learner. And guess what? Whether there's a tenure track position or not, whether your classes are online or face to face, if they're meeting once a week or once a month, uh, if you really do have the drive to seek knowledge, you can seek knowledge in multiple ways. When all this is over, this is only a moment. When this moment is over, you'll still have the opportunity to walk into a library that can be your local public library. It might be an online archival library, digital library. It might be a local school library. I don't know. It might be at your home. You still have the opportunity to read. It might be that Amazon or googlebooks.com. So anyhow, I just wanted to remind graduate students during this time of panic and anxiety, try not to worry so much about where you're going to be career wise. It's a good time, it's a great time to take pause and just realize this is only a moment. This is only a moment in higher ed history. And it's a great time to contemplate why you entered graduate school in the PhD or EDD program in the first place, and what is your purpose? What is your larger purpose in completing a dissertation and also acquiring a doctoral degree. So think about those reasons. Was it the power, the perceived power, prestige, or status? Or was it really because you wanted to teach in higher ed? Or do you really, really have love for knowledge and being around other people who also like to seek knowledge? Okay, so that's a good way to just get your juices flowing again, your creativity, and not feel so debilitated by focusing on, well, what's going to happen next with higher education. Okay, bye. So that's all I needed to say.